how do you say it? Uh, I think in Japan they say konnichiwa. In India say namaste. In Dubai, what do you say?
Welcome.
What do you say? Marhaba?
Mahaba. Mahaba. Welcome.
Mahaba.
Mahaba, welcome.
Oh, mahaba.
Yes, very nice. Well, mahaba to Dubai. Pleasure to have you here with us. And I know there's been a lot of excitement as I've been walking around the summit for the last couple of days for this session, and people have been really interested to hear what you have to say. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's get straight down to business. Paytm's journey began in 2010. Which was an early stage for mobile payments, especially in India. What inspired you to start the company? Now, how did you envision its role in the digital landscape back then?
In my opinion, one should not build a company unless you are yourself a customer. And even though we wanted to do something on payment across mobile phones, the real reason came when I left my wallet in Delhi Airport Lounge and landed in LA. And I obviously didn't have cash and cards. And the only way that I could survive was that my friend gave me a credit card which I could apply on Uber so that I could roam around. And after that, I was like, wow, the world has mobile phone in their pocket and world has these cards. Why are they not passing together? So Paytm was a journey of issue that I faced. And then I was like, okay, we have to solve for payments using mobile phone. That's why I pay through mobile. Except that the problem is that I'm a street foodie. So I would solve it for mass small shops over the big customers first. And that is how the QR code of payment came about. So that you don't have to put large capex or a cost to the small merchant. Yeah. And I would say that once we started to solve for small merchant, everything was falling in place.
What were some of the key challenges then that you were faced with, especially in a country where mobile payments were not so mainstream?
I think the first challenge was within, and it is as cliche in reality that my board members were very much against it, and fellow teammates were also a little bit not sure whether it will work out or not, considering our country uses cash to a level that when a person is getting married, in India, you wear the garland of currency notes. So we belong to a country where the cash is king, and you're challenging that cultural nuance. And so from teammates to the board members to the capital requirement, everything was an early day challenge. But I believe that when the smartphone took off, there was a little hope. And when the mobile internet took off, then there was no way going back.
You mentioned the cash is king. How did you convince your investors and partners in those early days to support your vision?
I think early on, smartphone app store was the reason that I was able to tell them that if smartphone is going to be successful, it will be through the apps. And if apps are successful, it will be through the payments, because they will need to take a payment. Now, in India, in those days, the payment used to be like a net banking or a mobile banking. Obviously was not there. Card payments were archaic. So my theory was that if you believe smartphone economy is going to be successful, you were saying Paytm will be successful. So I joined into their philosophy that they believe that, oh, I'm riding your belief. Yeah. Now, if smartphone is successful or mobile phone is successful with internet apps, then the payment will inevitably be there. And obviously, the method and the working, I'm sure all of us in Dubai and UAE use tap cards, but India didn't even have cards, so to say, so much and acquiring of that. So I was like, we will have to do something different. So the challenge was as much about the mobile will be payment system or not, but was about, let's say, tap versus QR scan. Yeah. And I think one thing I'm very proud of is that India gave the QR code system, which became the standard for all the Asian players to say low-cost payment acquiring equal to QR code payment acquiring. And I'm very happy that Paytm pioneered it.
The Indian government really influenced your growth strategy. You know, tell me about how they played that pivotal role in the digital payment ecosystem and how that impacted your business strategic growth.
Yeah, I think I'm privileged to have our Honorable Prime Minister who became Prime Minister at 14. This is the time when I was starting. And then typically, in an economy, the big is beautiful. The already big incumbent is actually the correct person who's taking responsibility of economy at large. At the same point of time, our Prime Minister announced Startup India, the Digital India mission, where the new or those who are challenging the status quo companies will get opportunity. So I'd say that the fact that our government took an initiative to champion the new companies, startup companies, gave us impetus and the push forward to try out something new. And obviously, there was a lot of such digitization initiatives that Government of India launched, which could have not been possible unless the services like mobile payment and Paytm services would have gone. So I'd say that we are children of Government of India's digitization initiative.
Paytm's also been very instrumental in driving financial inclusion, especially in parts of rural India, through its partnerships, through the government initiatives. Can you share any specific stories with us or case studies that illustrate how it has transformed the financial landscape for these communities?
Yeah, so typically every economy works top down. The big are the ones who have biggest advantage and access of financial system. So you're talking about complex financial product like future forward swap or complex derivatives products or things which are corporates or large businesses or large, I would say, wealthy individuals are able to access of. While the financial system starts from that, slowly, after a certain point of time, thanks to the obligations of many other compliances and limitations, the business becomes very tough to serve the next set of customers. And these customers could be rural, these customers could be, let's say, not having wherewithal of taking the services which the cost it could include. Paytm's vision is to serve the small and micro businesses in India and give them access to the formal financial system and technology. I actually also call technology is also not a very large inclusive offering of the world. So from technology to financial system, we start from the last guy in the value chain because the business and economy of the small businesses is where the economic growth comes from, is where the divide between big and small finishes, is divide between rich and poor finishes. So by serving these people, and let me say that the humble QR code that we gave them, and then we created special custom hardware like Soundbox or card-taking devices, which are new-age devices, to slowly moving forward, we were able to bring them to the formal financial system. So when a small merchant receives payment using Paytm, that merchant has a heartbeat on formal financial system. Now, the rest of the ecosystem can reach out to that person, and that's our commitment to the economy. I do believe that economies that are serious about inclusive growth will be serious about inclusive technology and inclusive finance to the small and micro businesses.
We're talking of technology. Let's bring in AI. You recently partnered with Perplexity AI to integrate the technology and an AI-powered search features into your app. Can you elaborate how this collaboration enhances the user experience? I mean, I've heard a lot of conversations about how important that is for everybody's clients.
Well, let me say this, that AI is underestimated, grossly underestimated by most of us, where the use cases of AI, starting from search or starting from what you are seeking, an answer of that, to getting the problem solved, are phenomenally different at a scale which people are not experiencing. Our intention is that small businesses, by virtue of having access to AI system, can start taking the advantage of technology, which otherwise couldn't be. Give you an example. If you were, let's say, a roadside eatery, you may be serving, let's say, coffee, tea, or some eatable. Now, there is no way you know who are your loyal customers. There is no way you know your sales between different days is fluctuating. You have no prediction of cash flow. You have no prediction of what could be the coming. Can you take a credit or not? Do you need to take an insurance or not? And what is your customer and business doing on your shop? So all those insights about small businesses, which typically require a complex software. When I say complex meaning they have to learn how to use it. And for those who are building it, it's always an easy software. But imagine you could talk to Paytm box, we call it sound box, and you can say, what do you think will be my this month's earning? What do you think, am I performing good over last month? Or when you switch it off or switch on, and it says, this month you're actually earning better than last month, you have more buffer of income, you could repay your loan earlier, you could acquire some insurance that is long due, you could invest in your business that is there. Those kind of conversations that you typically have with only when you have a very rich financial services advisor. When I say rich in experience, financial services advisor, that is possible now with AI. So AI is our way and commitment to bring the abilities of sophisticated financial services to the masses at a scale. And it won't be possible without AI because it requires nuance of the context of the person, the company, the SME, the micro SME, and the context of everyday transaction. So amount of data a business generates that can be captured and that can be leveraged unlike before, ever before. And that is, I think, the excitement on AI. Perplexity is a consumer use case. What I told is a SME use case, and we are talking between both of them.
What do you think differentiates Paytm from its competitors? You know, how do you plan to keep your edge on them in the future?
Our commitment to bring 500 million Indian to mainstream of economy. I think our commitment is what the purpose, we put our purpose ahead of us. Our purpose and clarity is that we would like to bring these small businesses and consumers advantages of mainstream of economy. I'm not saying my competition doesn't have the same purpose or belongingness to that, but I'm saying that our purpose is out and clear. That gives us motivated and we can innovate on any stack. Many of us believe that we are a fintech, which includes financial services and technology, but we are also a hardware company. So technology, hardware, software, service, full stack, everything that we can build in a full stack that you talk about is able to be built by us. We created the technology that handles huge amount of payment volume, huge amount of innovations that could have not been done. Now think about it, like we were talking about it, imagine a person who does not know how to read, write English. So your notification is also not useful. And even if you know how to read, write, let's say a local language or English, but the complex jargon loaded, like this amount debited, credited. Credit means you gave or you take, or debit means you received or you gave. So from complexity of industry parlance to the language barriers to the every other kind of what if it could have been solved in this way, we've been able to innovate across the stack. The differentiation us is that we own the full stack of delivery responsibility. We do not limit ourselves to, oh, this is how the system is limiting us. We are going to call it a border. We'll go in that system and work with a partner or work with everyone who's involved and then deliver it. So full stack, all in, all committed.
Looking at the profitability and how well you've done, you know, what were the key drivers in terms of the turnaround for you? You know, what strategies do you plan to implement to sustain this moving forwards?
Yeah.
The secrets of it.
I think, so earlier, erstwhile, when my private investors, Masa, SoftBank, and Alibaba, and the rest of the Berkshire Hathaway, all of private investors, when you're in private, you can talk about profitability way ahead because you are focused on solution, product market fit to a wider audience. When you're public, you definitely have a product market fit, you definitely have a sizable customer base, and the monetization is important. So the single secret or the secret sauce was focused on monetization. We started to find out things that customers can pay for and slowly, steadily, long-term pay for. So in a market where payment MDR is 0%, we make literally hundreds of $millions every month in our business. How can you make money when MDR is 0%? We created business models. We created more additional premium services that people can pay for. So the focus on what value customer attributes to your premium service or the not base service is the differentiation that created profitability.
So have you got any exciting expansion plans in the pipeline?
We've been talking. In our earning announcement, we talked about that we like to expand our technology and capability to the land of UAE and Middle East and building something in this region, hopefully. We love to look at opportunities that we can bring our technology and systems and make them good for the country. What I know is that every country is different. What I have on our pocket is that we have built it in India and we did it in Japan.
Sure.
So we have experience of India and Japan and wish that we can deliver and get an opportunity to serve citizens of UAE.
How do you maintain a balance between innovation and operational efficiency as Paytm grows and diversifies its services that you were just telling us about?
Whatever I was doing earlier is now outdated because I just throw this in ChatGPT and it tells me. Actually, that's a shorter answer, and that's a real answer. The amount of ability of cost or revenue opportunity an AI machine is able to tell is overwhelmingly ahead of any individual skill that I've had. I think I can say that as individual, I also underutilize the amount of AI availability. At the same point of time, the nuances of business knowledge, context of business knowledge, context of many other variables that exist in the market and samples, it's extraordinary. I think I don't have to say, how do I do it? I rather will say that I wish that every one of my teammates does it using ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is a slang for AI models. You could use Claude, you could use Gemini, whatever you want to, but it is phenomenal. To anybody who's not using that in this room, I'm going to say it is phenomenal. It is.
What for you, what...
I literally could predict that what kind of questions would you ask here, and they
well,
would
do you know what? I should have put
range
this into
70,
ChatGPT.
80%.
Would have saved me a lot of research, yeah?
Yeah.
I need to speed up my...
My agent will talk to your agent.
Okay. I think you've just done us out of an appearance next year.
But that is a celebrity lingo, right? My agent will talk to your agent.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to say my avatar agent will talk to your avatar agent. At the same point of time, the discussion will be, they figured out this is what this guy said. I don't know whether the future is super exciting or super boring. Either of the two. It has to be extreme of the two sides, I can say. The amount of new fun that we're going to have is going to be interesting.
I tell you what, you've definitely brought the energy after lunch when everyone was having a little bit of a food slump there.
No, in India, there are places and palaces, so we call it your palace or mine.
Okay.
That is the way to say, where are we meeting?
Okay. It'll be your avatar or mine coming up, I think, at this rate.
Your agent or mine, who's going to talk to us?
What is Paytm's vision for the future of fintech? Where are we going?
Well, future of fintech, I think I can say this, is far more accessible, far more nuanced. Give you an example here. Typically, many of us may or may not have got access to a credit product at different time in life, and there are reasons for that. Or we know somebody who's not got access for that. Now, think about it, that it is possible because the traditional data points and traditional underwriting methods restricted that opportunity. For example, like somebody who comes, let's say an expat who lands in UAE on the day one, very few chances, very rare chance that a local bank will give them a credit card. Because I don't know what you are, who you are, and how do I capture ability of your commitment to the economy, commitment to paying me back. And now, from that point to a level where the chief risk officer of the company, who could have done a personal audit and taken some different kind of things, are you getting a job? Which company it is? Can I see what hierarchy of jobs and so on, which are like a n equal to 1 or a personal attention to you, give you a credit or underwrite. Now that will be possible with the machine now. The best of your underwriting logic, best of your compounded brains will work on literally each of the cases. Otherwise, you have, like in a consulting company, a senior partner to a very junior associate. Now, the moment of truth is that junior associate of the underwriting process will have the most of the intelligence that the senior partner has. Now, that is the ultra-inclusive future of finance, in my opinion. I mean, we won't say a future of finance is anywhere restrictive to a certain set of customers. I would rather say it will be universally available. So we talk about universal accessible education, we talk about universal income. I think the financial services from inclusion as a limitation will become universally accessible financial services. And that I do believe is not very far. And at least by the end of the decade, some countries like UAE would definitely say this. Universal access of financial services is a law in this country. You can get, if you want an insurance, health insurance, or credit, or a bank account, or any other service because you want it and because you have an access to it. Now, this is possible only because the n equal to 1 context, meaning per person, customized products and offering. And obviously, I don't have to say the investments and wealth products, which are obviously going to be dramatically better. And there, only the agents will talk to the agents.
How is Paytm keeping ahead of that curve, though? The speed.
We don't have to keep ahead. We have to we move human race forward. And I'm using the slang of Apple, incidentally, if you guys are realizing it. We move the business of finances forward by our capability. We don't keep up the pace. We build and define the pace. That is our difference.
Well said, very well said. Looking back on your entrepreneurial journey, which has been so interesting, what would you say are the 3 most valuable lessons that you've learned?
Never underestimate power of universe in your life. The God up above, the somebody who takes care of you and have answers to more questions than you have. So never underestimate, meaning you have to go with the best of your commitment, your life's commitment. At the same point in time, you have to understand that when stars up above will normalize, everything will happen. That's like being an entrepreneur, giving it so much back to the power of universe. But I think there are answers that are not available, but this answer that there is a bigger plan in the universe. So one is that lesson.
One.
And second, I would say is that ultimately you are as good as your team is, your commitment or the aggression of your team or the intelligence of your team is. Yes, in future, we all will have agents of AI on our side, and that is something very interesting coming up. Technology, coding, we have sorted out. Advising, we are solving out. Search, we sort of sorted. So the capability of your team is what the limitation of your company or thing is. And I call it, a company is worth the company it keeps. You know, so the company's worth is the company it keeps, not the current business, but kind of people you are. And third is that I think I use it it has a little bit of Hindi word. Okay. So sometime you thrive, sometime you survive, but the principle should be lay low. Sometime you lay low, sometime you lay low.
No lay-lowing for you. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Big round of applause. What a fantastic conversation. Thank you.